The more and more I watch these news panels, I feel like I'm slowly losing my grip on reality. Yeah, Sky News this morning. They spent half the segment saying Labour can't blame the last government anymore, and then the other half literally blaming Labour for the fallout of the last government. You can't make this stuff up. So apparently there's a new rule now, an unwritten rule, mind you, that you can only get to 6 to 12 months to blame the previous lot. 6 to 12 months. After 14 years of austerity, prison chaos and revolving doors of ministers, you've got a year and a half to fix it all. And if you can't, well, then it's your fault now.
They've been in power, obviously, now since the summer of last year, and the public is not hearing that strongly anymore. I think you have 6 months to a year to keep blaming and looking in the rear view mirror.
Let's start with Trevor Phillips, his big visual moment, the prison release graph. It spikes in 2024 and 2025, right? It looks pretty scary that he puts up there. Only problem is that the Tories were still in power until July. A kind of important detail to leave out when you're pointing the finger at somebody. Then the panel flips to austerity drove out staff in prisons.
This is prison officer experience. And you can see, we think it's probably the effect of austerity, increasing churn. Experienced prison officers have left. So from 2017 through to 2021, the numbers with 20 plus and 10 to 19 years declined, and the numbers just 4 years are up. Yeah, mistakes are going to abound, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I remember interviewing a prison governor who said that it's a fight to keep junior officers working in prisons because they can earn more stacking shelves at the local supermarket.
True, but hang on, who brought in austerity? The same party you've been protecting from blame for 14 years. And speaking of selective memory, James Cartledge, the Tory minister, still blaming Labour for the deficit from 2010.
If you want to talk about the finances, you know, when we came to power, the budget deficit was over 10%. Now hold on a minute. They had just over 4%, Labour, when they took office, right? We had over 10%. It's an extraordinary position in which we found ourselves. You have to make some very difficult decisions across all departments in that situation.
The budget went down from 2010, and it fell to a low point around about 2016. Some of this is your responsibility.
So, two parts to this. I already said at the beginning of the programme about the fact that we inherited a budget deficit over 10%. That's a country threatened with bankruptcy. We had a note left, there's no money left. Labour even admitted it, right? If you look at that spending...
Yeah, you made a choice.
But the public often don't understand the detail. So let me explain. The difference between a deficit of 4% or so that Labour inherited from us when they won the election in 24 and what we inherited from them in cash terms now is £160 billion.
No. Do you accept no responsibility at all for that?
I am accepting the fact that we had to make those difficult decisions. You've just said you chose to make, implying that we got to office, hey, let's now cut all the spending.
Yeah, I've asked you if you take responsibility. Your answer is three times it's somebody else's fault.
I didn't say that. I said I take responsibility for the fact we had to make very, very difficult spending decisions because of the state the country's finances were in.
So apparently it's fine to drag up 15-year-old Labour government, but not OK for the current Labour to mention a Conservative one from 14 months ago.
They've been in power, obviously, now since the summer of last year, and the public is not hearing that strongly anymore. I think you have 6 months to a year to keep blaming and looking in the rear view mirror.
We've also got the Chancellor bit. They say Starmer should have sacked Rachel Reeves, but 10 minutes later they complain that the Justice Department's chaos comes from too many ministers being replaced.
I mean, I'm personally quite surprised that she's actually still in her job, the Chancellor. I sort of thought that Keir Starmer would take the easy way out at the last reshuffle and get rid of her, but I was obviously proved completely wrong, because then it would have been easier for a new broom to say, no matter what the previous Chancellor has promised, I'm different and I'm taking a realistic approach, and actually tough things have to be done.
The hit now and then resign after the May elections.
Yeah.
If she goes straight away, when she gave that interview saying, when she was asked by Andrew Marr, would you resign if you have to break the promise? And she said, well, the reaction of the markets would be terrible, is true. So at the moment, Rachel Reeves is speaking to the markets. Starmer and her then go. That is being spoken about in Labour circles. Now, whether that will happen, of course, as Sir Winston Churchill said, we can explain afterwards why it didn't or whether it did, as you said at the top of the programme. But that is certainly a discussion that they are making the sacrifice, almost the two of them, and then they depart.
the word that's being used is hapless.
Yeah, it is a complete shambles, but it has been for so long. I mean, if you look back, since Ken Clarke was Justice Secretary in 2012, we have had 13 Secretaries of State in that position. So they're averaging one a year. Now, you can't possibly get to grips with a department as complicated and as crucial as justice within a few months and hit the ground running. And so there are so many people to blame. Prime Ministers for reshuffling them because they don't think it's an important area, even though it is a very, very important political area.
You think Keir Starmer would know that, of all people?
You would have thought he would have known it, but he's had
former
two.
Director of Public Prosecutions and so on, yeah.
So which is it? Do you want stability or constant purges? Because if the Tories' revolving door was a problem, why are you cheering for Labour to build one too? They even describe the prison system as a paper and pen from the 1980s, but somehow don't connect that to 14 years of underfunding and an ignored reform. It's like two people watching a house burn down, and one guy says to the other, "Ooh, that looks a bit nasty," and the other guy says, "Yeah, it does. Do you know who lit it?" And the first guy goes, "Yeah, I did." It's just utter madness. The truth is simple. You can't undo 14 years of decline in a year and a half. But Sky don't want a solution, they want a scapegoat. I mean, you could even see that in the interview with James Cartledge, where he blatantly answers Trevor Phillips's question on did he mislead Parliament? And he said no, like 3 times. But Trevor still kept asking the same question because it wasn't the answer he wanted.
Are you saying that he misled the House, which is a resigning issue, I think?
Well, he couldn't have misled the House because he didn't answer the question at all. I mean, he made no attempt to. When I stood up and asked a very straightforward question...
But I think you just said that he broke the ministerial code.
Trevor, I said the question about the ministerial code is because there is a duty of transparency, right? I didn't say he misled the House because he didn't answer the question at all.
Trying to get you to say what you took from that exchange. Did he mislead the House? Did he, in your opinion, break the ministerial code? Should he resign?
So, on misleading the House... to the extent that he withheld facts that he knew full well because they were in front of him, he certainly didn't answer the questions and was not transparent. So I think under the ministerial code, there's a question. Now, the ministerial code is overseen ultimately the Prime Minister. That's a question for him.
So the next time you watch one of these balanced panels, listen closely. The trick isn't what they say, it's what they quietly decide doesn't matter anymore.